n'abaana. We are ready. Hey, let's see the gadgets. Okay, Kali. Standike. Fellow countrymen, media, members of the Fourth Estate, I welcome you once again to this Monday briefing on the 3rd of August 2026 at the FDC headquarters in Najanankombe. We are talking about 3 issues today. One is the trial of Dr. Besigye and other political prisoners. The second one is the local council elections that were recently concluded. And the third one is the national cleaning exercise for Uganda. We are deeply concerned about what is happening to our founding president and former presidential flag bearer, Dr. Besigye. What started as a legal process has now become political persecution. Dr. Besigye, we all know, gave much of his life to the service of this country in the Bush War that brought NRM to power, and having been a personal doctor to President Museveni, in government and after he left government, even as a presidential candidate, he put forward proposals on health, education, governance, agriculture, social protection that have gone to shape public policy and improve people's lives. The political differences should not erase that record for sure. If the state truly has overwhelming evidence against Dr. Besigye, what is the harm in letting him be represented by a lawyer of his choice, including a lawyer like Martha Karua, who was deported when she had come to represent him in court? A government with a strong case has nothing to fear from a strong defense. Denying him that choice tells the public something is not right. After all, even the Constitution gives him the right of presumption of innocence. We should also recall that Dr. Besigye is the most prosecuted person in Uganda. He has faced more than 500 cases, and not a single one has produced a conviction. This also leaves a lot to be desired. Politics must be left out of the courts. The law should take its course, because no one in Uganda should be above the law, and this cuts both ways. Even those who feel untouchable today will one day need a fair court. It is so unfortunate that Dr. Besigye is being tried in absentia. Right now, as we speak, he's under ICU, intensive care unit, at Mulago Hospital. And when you're in ICU, you are near to death. But the heartless state, represented by the presiding judge, will go ahead and try him. I'll not even say in absentia, but try him in ICU. They are literally condemning him to death and torturing him to death. The other political prisoners as well, facing the same wrath. Where did the morals in this country go? I think this must really stop, and we condemn it with the strongest possible terms. If you recall, the former speaker, Anita Among, now needs a fair court more than most people in this country. She has also been placed under incarceration now more than 3 months. Kaiura, who once mobilized goons to attack the courts, later needed justice from the very courts he had abused, and many more. Every Ugandan will need justice from a court at some point in their life. We must respect our courts and give them the respect they deserve, because none of us knows when he will need them. It's a matter of time. No condition is permanent. Today you are president, today you are first son, today you are minister. Tomorrow you'll be a convict. And you'll also be crying for justice. What happens when your turn to be arraigned before the same courts come and the public judges you harshly? Will you feel negated? I think this is a moral question that should come to all of us. We want to call on the army to stay out of politics and stay out of this case in particular. There's a reason to why this court is before the civil courts and not the court martial. Chief of Defense Forces tweeted that he wants Dr. Besigye hanged and that he will only leave Luzira in a coffin. This was quite unfortunate. And he'd said this while the court process is still going on. This amounts to subjudice. And whatever the court decides here, if it twists in line with that comment, the people or the general public will believe that the outcome was influenced by the CDF, even if the process itself is done properly. A soldier's opinion on a pending case has no place in the public record because it is subjudicial. Ugandans should know that when politics fails us, the courts are where we turn for justice. That is where every side that feels unfairly treated in an election ends up asking for fairness. We must protect that system because it is the last table of justice available to all of us, regardless of which side we stand on. We ask Mr. Museveni to reflect on Dr. Besigye's contribution to this country, and most especially him having been his bush personal doctor. It means that Museveni's life was in his hands. He could have chosen to sedate him forever, but he chose to give him a life. Let him reflect on this and reconsider his emotions towards Dr. Besigye. Nobody would be happy to be put in the place where Dr. Besigye has been put at the moment, and more so, placed under the ICU. It's the last place anybody would desire to be at. I saw the spokesperson of the prison services insinuating that Dr. Besigye's health was okay and that too much anger made him to collapse. But what kind of anger is that would make somebody to go up to ICU? If it was a matter of anger, then why did the Luzira prison authorities transfer him to Mulago and to end up in the intensive care units? So these people should stop joking with people's lives. And we also call upon Ugandans, civil society, religious leaders, and the international communities to add their voices and demand a political solution to this challenge. This is no longer just a trial. It's a political problem, and it needs a political solution to it. On the list, recently concluded general elections of the local council ones, the Forum for Democratic Change congratulates all Ugandans who turned up in numbers to participate in the recently concluded LOC1 elections. Despite enormous challenges, citizens showed up and demonstrated their commitment to having a voice in the governance of their villages. Let us be honest about what happened. The elections were not different from every other election Uganda has ever held in the recent years. The same violence, the same intimidation, vote rigging. Ugandans went to the polls again and got the same result, a process they cannot trust. The LOC1 elections are a foundation of local governance. They should reflect the free will of the people without intimidation, manipulation, or interference from individual or state institution. Leadership at the village level should unite communities, not divide them through fear and coercion. What is most shameful is that NRM could not even leave the lining up system alone. This is a system where every voter stands in the open, in full view of their neighbors, behind the candidates of their choice. There's nothing to hide and nothing to manipulate. And still, the NRM find a way to rig it. It was as if they were rehearsing during their primaries on what they are going to do subsequently in these recently concluded elections, because you can see the mess that happened there. Presiding officers were arrested and taken away before they could even announce results. In some places, results were changed even after people had lined up openly behind their candidates of choice, under the watch of everyone. However, the shameful NRM could not hesitate to rig this election in broad daylight, and we condemn this with the strongest possible terms. There is no way somebody can make Ghana, let's say 300 votes, and then you declare the one who got 200 votes. Even the counting itself was done in a wrong way. So, this whole process makes the whole country look shabby in front of the world. There is no way you can shamefully rig an open election. We have a number of petitions that we have lined up, and we hope that the Electoral Commission is going to comply. If government cannot conduct a simple village election in the way that people can trust, how can its citizens trust the outcome of the national election? These are community leadership positions. They exist to promote service, unity, and development. They should never be treated as a matter of life and death. Imagine even a village council women election. You put a lot of force, you put money. What are you really looking at? I mean, what are you looking for? No party should need violence, intimidation, or even abuse of the state power to win a local council election seat, including even the women council election seats. Democracy is won through competition, not coercion. NRM is now claiming an overwhelming victory in these elections. That claim does not really match the reality on ground. There are villages and communities across Uganda, including in our own strongholds, where the NRM did not even field candidates. In many others, independent and opposition candidates won. The real picture of this election is far more mixed than the NRM's sweeping claims that it suggests. FDC congratulates all our candidates who first of all participated and won the different positions both on women councils and LOC1 elections, for exercising the resilience from our supporters and members. I know there was interference from the RDC's office, the military and police, but congratulations for that resilience. Those who are not declared winner, do not lose hope. The struggle continues. It has never been easy in the struggle for democracy. And like I said, we have petitions that are pending. We shall give all the necessary support to make sure that these petitions are concluded with fairness and justness. And where need be, there should be residual and remedial elections so that people can get their real representatives. FDC calls upon the Electoral Commission to investigate every credible complaint from these elections and apply the electoral law fairly without political interference. We call upon all Ugandans to remain peaceful, stay vigilant, and continue with the struggle for an electoral system that is genuinely free, fair, and credible. Uganda deserves elections where every citizen can participate freely, every vote is respected, and every result reflects the will of the people and the choice of the people. Thank you. Third one. FDC, as the political party, supports the goal behind the National Cleaning Day. It was long overdue, and would like to thank the Ugandans who turned up in large numbers on the 25th of July to clear the drainage channels, sweep streets, collect waste, and that civic effort really deserves recognition. We saw the streets in our cities and villages clean, although Ugandans pay taxes every day. Those taxes are supposed to fund basic sanitation and other services. The National Cleaning Day did not fix government failure to provide that. It only exposed it. Yes, government mobilized millions of people to clean on the July 25th, but had no system to collect the garbage that was gathered during that day. Days later, much of that garbage is still sitting on the roads, in the communities. Government rolled out a mandatory monthly program without realizing any additional funding for it, leaving councils to find money from the budgets that were already stretched. A cleaning day without a collection plan is not a sanitation program. In fact, there is an LOC1 leader in Naweru who carried the garbage and dumped it at the division offices. And for me, I think that was an eye-opener for government. You cannot allow garbage to lie in the middle of the roads when the citizens have done their work to clean and you don't collect it. That was a big failure on the part of government. And there is another cleaning exercise coming in a few days. I hope and we pray that government is prepared enough to collect that garbage. Otherwise, they will water down the efforts of the citizens whose time they will have wasted. Half a day is such a long time for somebody who is earning a living on a daily basis. The restriction of the movements also needs planning, not just enforcement. Government has already exempted ambulances, security vehicles, and emergency services from the Saturday curfew. That exemption is too narrow. What about the doctors, the medical workers traveling to and from the shifts? They also need to be exempted. The tourists, most of them are even foreigners, whose itinerary is already prepared. Why should they be stopped by a curfew they had no way to plan around? The Seventh-day Adventists, I saw them making an alarm. Saturdays, they are Sabbath. That's when they congregate to go and worship. They should be allowed to carry out their cleaning on a Friday or a Sunday instead. And finally, you know that we are now entering the rainy season. that uncollected garbage that has been left in the communities is actually going to wash back into the drainage channels, and you know the disaster that is going to come out of that. The water sources are going to be polluted. That is how cholera and typhoid outbreaks start. So this is a very big health potential disaster if government does not act to collect this garbage so that it does not find its way back into the drainage system that will block and even cause flooding, especially in the cities like Kampala. We have only 3 weeks left into the next National Cleaning Day to fix the collection plan. Therefore, the Prime Minister, who is the leader of government, business, and the chief proponent of the cleaning exercise, take note that we are left with 3 weeks, and therefore the streets should be free of garbage, lest Ugandans lose morale to go back to clean, and also lest we get an outbreak of cholera and other diseases that will come as a result of a poor sanitation and hygiene environment. Thank you all. Maga Luganda wa LC uka. Oh, question. We're still compiling. We're still compiling those petitions, and we have quite a number. So our electoral commission is putting together the petitions, and maybe in the subsequent press conference we shall announce them. But they are not few. All the data is being collected. I can only give you for Kasese, we got 173 LC1s. We got 399 women councils. But like I said, I just arrived yesterday. So we need to compare notes with our electoral commission to get the whole now national results. Yeah, thank you. Abannayuganda mbaniriza leero ku press conference ey'olunaku olwaleero, ennaku z'omwezi nga 3 omwezi gw'omunaana 2026, ng'ensonga zetugenda okwogerako ziri 3. Ensonga ya okuwozesa